Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans.
Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by.
Now, here's JP.
Oh, my goodness. Look at this. Ball on the ground. That was Giovanni Bernard, the former Bengal, with the football. And the Bengals collapse on them, and they get a huge momentum shifting break to start the third quarter.
Oh, no. Yes. That's how the debacle started. The fake punt turns into a fumble, turns into a field goal, and it was an avalanche of turnovers and miscues from that point on. A Buccaneers team that had so much promise at the beginning of this season has absolutely been broadsided like a pirate ship and just sunk to the ground, sunk to the bottom of the ocean. Just done. Absolutely done. 5 turnovers in the second half after playing almost a perfect first half against one of the hotter teams in the NFL. What hurt so much about this game is the fact that you saw what the Bucs could be. You saw what they could be. We saw the promise of a Super Bowl run. We saw what the talent on this team. We saw defenders making plays, Carlton Davis knocking balls away, Mike Evans making plays over the middle, scoring touchdowns. I mean, this was what we thought the Bucs could be. And then the second half came, and it was an absolute disaster. Now, I know a lot of you guys hate me talking about culture, but today we're going to talk a lot about culture. And it's a question I asked Tom Brady. Of course, he didn't want to answer it in the aftermath. It's like the last 2 years, this team has not beaten itself. You win a Super Bowl, you win 13 games, you go to the playoffs. The culture changed. No question about it. Bruce Arians and Tom Brady changed the culture of this team from losers, finding ways to lose games and beat yourself, to finding ways to win games and win a Super Bowl and win 13 games. And then this season comes and your entire culture has evaporated. Evaporated. Who creates the culture? Head coach. The head coach creates the culture. The organization, usually it's the head coach. Sometimes it's the general manager, but usually it's the head coach. He's the front and center guy. And this team has absolutely self-destructed. You heard it in some of the quotes yesterday from some of the players, the older players. It's like, yeah, we are finding new ways to lose. We're blaming each other. Nobody's taking accountability of themselves. And that's the word, accountability. From Jump Street this season, there has been no accountability. And you can argue these things all you want, but you can start with a soft training camp. You letting your quarterback go away for 11 days, which I was all for. Mistake. Letting them go to Bob Kraft's wedding. I don't worry, you have to come back with the team. Lose to Pittsburgh next day. Team had 0 defensive backs. Lose to Carolina the next week. There's no accountability on this team. None. And that's why when you run a fake punt in your own end, which, by the way, I like the call. You ain't going to beat Cincinnati with 17 points. You ain't going to beat them with 17 points. You got to stay aggressive in the second half and keep doing what you're doing. Get some swagger back in your football team. And you know what good teams do? They notice weaknesses in other teams, and they exploit them at the opportune time. And they had the exact front that they needed in that fake punt. They had, and everybody's, well, you don't do it there. You're in control of the game. You're not in control of the game. You're a bad football team that played a good half of football. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing. You ain't going to win this game with 17 points. You got 4th and 1. You got to sit you. You know what you do? You know what good teams do? They execute. They execute the play. If Giovanni Bernard catches that ball, he's not touched for 7 or 8 yards. And if he makes a move and gets a block, he could go the distance. Let's think about that for a second. Fake punt, he goes, even if he just gets the first down, you got momentum back. But there's a chance that could be a huge play. A huge play. That's what good teams do. They execute. You know what bad culture teams do with no kind of accountability and people that aren't focused? The dude doesn't even know he's getting the ball. By the way, if my understanding is he wasn't on the punt team normally, you just insert a running back in that particular point. Other teams are smart. Unlike your team, other teams are smart. They see those things. But it was still going to work if he catches the ball and runs forward. All you got to do is catch a direct snap and run forward behind the 6 blockers. It's all there for you. You got to execute. You can't even catch the ball. You don't even know it's coming. You don't even know it's coming. No accountability. None. But if I'm the coaching staff, and like Todd Bowles said, we'll hear in a minute, we've been working on that play all week long. All week long. Really? Really? You've been working on that play all week long, and the dude didn't even know he was supposed to run it? How is that possible? I'm looking that dude straight in the eyes and before he goes out there and going, hey, you got this? You got this. Now, I know there's signals where you can put it on and take it off, and maybe that can't happen. You can't have mixed signals in that environment. That's because your coaching staff is not on the details. And Giovanni Bernard does not escape blame here. How the F? You haven't done anything all year long, bro. You get paid all year long, millions of dollars. One time you got to focus in the game, one freaking time, and you can't do that? That's because there's no accountability here. These guys don't care. It's gone. They don't give a rat's ass about winning this season. And if I hear one more person say this is a first-place team, my God, you're a first-place team because everybody else sucks, not because you've done anything. You're 6-8. And by the way, you were 3-2 early in the season when there was still a little bit of culture and accountability left in this team. After that, the game where the refs gave you a roughing the passer call, you probably would have lost to Atlanta. But you beat Atlanta, you go to 3-2. Since then, they're 3-7. 3-7 now. And this team, in 2 of those games, were miracle Tom Brady's work. This is a terrible, terrible football team with a lot of the talent isn't showing through right now. But this is a way better roster than so many more teams that have more wins than they do this year. And the culture is gone. The culture now is just completely eroded into a losing culture. And I'm sorry, folks. I know, I said this last week and everybody was like, you're out of your freaking mind. And I know we've counted Tom Brady out before and he's risen from the dead. Tom Brady is done. This league has changed. It's not a drop back quarterback league anymore. You got to have a guy that can move. My God, on 3rd and 3 in the red zone in the beginning of the game, it opened up like the Red Sea. All he had to do was run the ball for at least a first down. I mean, anybody else that's not 45 years old is in the end zone. And the Bucs never get any of those plays. I mean, go watch SportsCenter, folks. It seems like almost 60-70% of the touchdown plays are off-script quarterback plays. You got to have so much around Tom Brady for it all to work. And everything has to be working perfectly. And this team is anything but. And I'm not saying it's all Brady's fault. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you got to have a lot around him for him to be great right now. And this team just doesn't have it. It's a flawed team in so many ways. And yesterday was the perfect canvas to show you all the picture that we've been talking about all year long. You can play well in spots. This is what you're capable of, but this is who you really are when it comes down to it. And it's sad. It's sad to watch. It's sad to watch, especially and if you're as old as me and you've watched a lot of these great legends go out in this game. It's rarely pretty. Even John Elway winning Super Bowls was a shell of himself at the end of his career. Peyton Manning, Hell, I go back to Johnny Unitas, Roman Gabriel. I mean, Emmitt Smith. I remember we were talking about this last night as the Bucs get ready to go out to Arizona. His last game was in Sun Devil Stadium with about 12,000 people there running against the Bucs. They rarely go out well. 4 turnovers in 10 offensive plays for Tom Brady. He couldn't even hand the ball off, for God's sakes. He fumbled a handoff. Threw a horrible throw to Cameron Brate. Should have a pick in the end zone on the first drive. He threw it right to Bates, who was just sitting there waiting for it. Reading his eyes, waiting for him to jump on it. These are rookie mistakes that Tom Brady's making. Fumbled when he was going down to the ground in a sack. He didn't cover the ball up well enough. Got punched out. So many of these things are just mistakes that Tom Brady, the old Tom Brady, just never made. And it's sad to watch. Sad to watch. All right, I want to welcome in my partner here, Nick Geddes. You were as dismayed as I was at what you witnessed yesterday. Your thoughts?
I just never thought that I would see a Tom Brady-led team, and a team at that a lot of guys on here have won a Super Bowl not too long ago, would teach a masterclass on how to self-implode. I mean, think about that. A Tom Brady-led football team that's a year and a half removed from winning a Super Bowl has taught a masterclass on how to self-implode. And multiple times, by the way, it's happened this year. Multiple times.
Yeah, true.
This is a 6-8 football team. They are playing, to me, they play more like a 3-11 football team.
That's who they are.
That's honestly who they are. And like you said, 2 of those wins were Tom Brady miracles. They got you there.
And huge breaks given up by the team.
And huge breaks, yes.
Cooper Kupp stopping before the first down, and then
and
Mark Ingram running out.
And not against the cream of the crop necessarily in the NFC either.
No, those are two bad teams, by the way.
Yeah, and don't mistake anything. I don't care what the division says. They're going to host a playoff game. That is who they are. Yeah. They're in the Rams class. They're in the Saints class. They're in the Cardinals class. They're in all those teams' classes. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is, because at 45 years old, Tom Brady can't overcome everything anymore. No. That is crystal clear. We've always said that he's been able to pull the bootstraps, the whole thing, and get everybody to play better. The guys around him are not doing enough to help him, and that's what has to happen now for this team to succeed. He can't do it anymore like he did, and this is not the same team that we saw last year.
No. It's
not even close to the same team we saw 2 years ago. It's a different team, and they have to adapt, and they continue to not do it. There's no other excuse for being up 17-0 and losing that football game. 17-0. And the wildest stat, it seems like Tom Brady all his records are getting broken in a bad way this season. He was 89-0 with a 17-point lead or more at home in his career. 89-0. He's 89-1.
And we remember the other one, 218-0.
Yeah.
218-0 when leading by 7 points with 2 minutes left. And we got that one too. We broke that streak too on you, Tommy.
Yeah. It's just a team that
Todd Bowles' record as the head coach of just those 2 numbers alone.
Oh, yeah.
Like your game management and your team literally took 2 of the most prestigious records or numbers for Tom Brady's career and just trashed them.
Yeah. This team cannot help itself but snowballing after something goes wrong, because for 30 minutes, it was almost as perfect as this could be. Save a Ryan Suckup, ill-advised. Well, I don't know why we're kicking 50-yard plus field goals with Ryan Suckup at this point.
Ridiculous.
Save that, and then the end of the game, or the end of the first half, rather, when it looks like they were playing prevent D or whatever. I don't know.
Which
prevents nothing at a field goal.
Yeah.
Save those 2 moments in the first half. It was basically perfect.
Yeah.
It was basically perfect. We saw play action. We saw motion.
First 2 plays of the game.
We saw throwing on first down more, and they were having a lot of success with it.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Mike Evans getting targeted, and Mike Evans looked damn good that first half.
We saw a jet sweep.
A jet sweep
to the
fastest guy on the offense.
Oh my God!
Not Chris Godwin.
There's an idea. He got 9 yards.
Yeah, we saw new things.
That was the reverse.
Yeah, that was the reverse.
Yeah.
Point is, we saw new things.
Mm-hmm.
All the things we were asking for. It looked like something had finally clicked in Byron Leftwich's head or Tom Brady's head, whatever. Whoever's doing it at this point, I don't know. Right. It clicked. And then you come out of the half and you do a fake punt. You
didn't like it, but go ahead.
You like the fake punt. And that moment, it's 17-3. Your defense of that, and I know we had this discussion before about putting too much faith in your defense, but in that game, you were dominating the Bengals. Jamar Chase wasn't doing anything. He was getting locked up by Carlton Davis. I wasn't hearing T's name. I wasn't hearing Boyd's name. Burrow looked like he had a little finger injury. He wasn't doing anything. They couldn't run the ball. They were doing nothing.
Right.
You're up 17-3. You're controlling the game. Why force it in that moment? Because if you don't get it, it did change the entire game. And like you said, if you're Giovanni Bernard, you've been hurt all year. You're not really a part of this offense. You're still making money. I need you to be alert for one play.
God.
I need you to be alert for one play. And I don't know whose story to go off of. Bull says he knew what was happening. Gio said, I don't know what was happening. I don't care at this point. You need to be alert at that moment in time.
You got to execute the play.
You got to execute the play. But guess what? Bad teams don't execute those plays. And that's my thing. The Bucs have such a small margin of error when things are like this.
Yeah, but
I just didn't want to force it in that moment.
You can't coach scared. If you get an opportunity and you see it and you think it's going to work and you've practiced it all week, you got to pull the trigger, man. That's a play that can. I think of all the things Todd Bowles has done, and there have been a lot of conservative, terrible calls. This one to me was aggressive, and I think he needs to be more aggressive. And all you got to do is just catch the ball and run forward. You're not even it's not like you're asking a punter to throw a pass 30 yards to a guy. This guy's a running back. All he has to do is catch a direct snap and run forward for God's sakes. And if you can't do that, then it doesn't matter what you're calling. And to me, the breakdown there for Bowles is not the fact that he called the fake punt. It's the fact that you can't execute it. You can't. That's a high school play, man.
Yeah, and I don't buy the fact that they practice this. I don't know what they practice.
Well, that's the point. If you're practicing this and the dude doesn't know what's happening, then you're practicing it wrong. You're practicing it wrong. Like, how do you not know? It just can't happen. To me, that's the bigger story here. It's not the fact that it was a stupid call. It's the fact that you can't execute a high school play when they're giving it to you, man. They're giving it to you.
Yeah. But even then, though, you don't get it. I believe the defense kind of came up really big there.
They held them 3.
Held them a field goal. So it's still 17-6 at that point. You're still in control of the game by 2 scores, and you had a lot to play for. But this is the problem. One thing goes wrong, and this team, they get into a shell. They panic. They panic, and they start pressing. Tom Brady, for as much as we've criticized him, he played the best first half I think that he's played the entire year by far. That was the best he's looked. Do you agree?
I would agree. Yeah.
I mean, he was making every throw.
Except in those 2-minute drives that won the game. Yeah,
but that first half, though, I mean, he was making really good throws, really good reads. He was sticking it. He had a lot of velocity, all those things that makes you go, oh, he's still good. He's still Tom Brady, right? But then after that, it's like then you go to panic mode. You start pressing. An awful ill-advised pass to Cam Brate, who I mentioned to you.
Jesus.
It just seems like every time we're throwing a Cam Brate,
it's a disaster.
Something bad is happening.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a connection there since 2020. It's not there. And Cam Brate's not Gronk. Stop throwing passes to him like you were throwing to Gronk.
I think Kate Otten had what? 1 target?
Kate Otten got 1 target, I think.
He made a nice play on it.
Yeah, and he bulldozered Wilson.
Yeah. That dude's got athleticism. I'm sorry, Cam Brate does not. He's got nothing left in the tank.
There's just nothing there.
He can't run away from anybody. He's not making any spectacular catches. He's not savvy enough to get open. He's not that big. It just doesn't offer anything. And again, why are you throwing it? Why is he in the game? Why is he even in the game? Like, I love Cam Brate. The guy's had a great career. He's made a ton. He's made a lot out of, some very average skills.
Yeah.
So I give him all the credit in the world. But it is not his time anymore.
Yeah, he got more targets than Kate Otten. Leonard Fournette outsnaps Rachaad White 43-29. Listen, everybody, the camera to me after the fumble, everybody was looking at Leonard Fournette like, oh, Leonard Fournette. Listen, the ball never even reached him.
Never got to him.
It's like Tom had slime on his fingers or something.
Yeah.
He totally just popped it out.
Yeah.
It never reached Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just on Tom. 4 turnovers. It's like, I'm not going to turn this into a Brady bashing by any means, but he had 4 turnovers. You know how many times he's done that?
10 plays.
Yeah, you know how many times he's done that in his career in a quarter or a half, I think?
None.
Yeah. Again, breaking records in a negative way. Tom Brady continues to do. He was awful in the second half.
Yeah.
He gave you nothing.
And people talk about bringing him back, and from a financial, and what's going to be different? Well, we'll have Ryan Jensen back. We can move Hainsey to left guard. What if Ryan gets hurt again? That's the thing with Brady. It all has to go right, like it did in 2020, and it'll happen. And right now he doesn't have the targets. Although Godwin's getting better, the third receiver is still kind of. Although Gage made a couple
I was just
plays
going to
yesterday.
say, Russell Gage got 12 targets
Yeah.
and looks like he's healthy. I mean, the touchdown that he had,
Yeah.
it was a great route running. It was it was the Gage that we expected to get for $10 million. I thought Gage played a
Great throw by Brady.
I mean, I think he had like a drop or two in there.
Yep.
Mixed in, but I thought he played a good game, all things considered. Godwin caught all of his targets. Evans clearly was on his A game, and then they just totally went away from him in the second half there. I mean, I'm not blaming any of the skill players today.
No.
Or even the offensive line for that matter. I'm not blaming any. I mean, he just didn't play well.
No.
And this is the one game where I said, like, we've been blaming the coaches, and I said before this game, it's been 80% coaches and 20% players, and Brady is somewhere a part of that 20%. I thought yesterday it was flipped. Probably 80% players or even more. You got to play. That's what we keep saying. Players got to play.
A lot of bad mistakes. I mean, Giovanni Bernard, there's just no excuse for that. And after the game, very interesting, awkward situation. We walk up to Giovanni Bernard, and there's this protocol. You kind of, the guy is usually facing his locker, and he's getting dressed, and we're kind of standing behind him, waiting politely until they turn around, and then we do the interview. So Gio is doing this thing, and we're waiting, and he turns around, and Greg Auman, Rick Stroud, and Jenna were over there in front, a couple steps in front of me, and Gio goes, "Oh, now you want to talk to me? Now you want to talk to me?" And I think Rick was like, "Well, yeah, you were involved in the most important play of the game, you know? Yeah, but you haven't talked to me all year." The dude, and Greg's like, "Well, you've been hurt. You know, we're not, you haven't done anything. I mean, we're supposed to go over there and ask you, hey, how does it feel to pick up that $150,000 check this week for doing nothing?" So, I mean, Gio starts walking out, and then this is hopefully you can hear the exchange here, where he's saying, "I want to go see my family," playing the family card. I don't know about that one. Look, in the end, dude, it's football. Just sit there and answer the questions. It's not that big a deal. You're still going to pick up your check. You're still going to be able to go home to your family, have tons and tons of money, which is fine. You've earned that, and that's great. Fantastic. All we ask you to do in a situation like this is answer a couple of questions. It ain't going to kill you. It sucks. I know it feels bad, but, we all have times in our lives where we got to face the fan a little bit. And this is your time. So, and if you would have taken a snap and gone 80 yards, guess what? We'd have been talking to you then too. But you didn't. So, kind of how it works. Here was the exchange.
Don't say you're not talking to you. Didn't talk to you out here.
You were also injured most of the season, too.
Hold on. Can I go to my family that I have outside?
You can.
Now? Just don't say we didn't talk to you.
We just wanted to ask for your perspective on what happened
You
there.
involved in one of the biggest plays of the game. Okay. Here we go. Yeah. Thank you, Joe.
We appreciate your time.
We won't hold you.
We would have talked to you in the season, but also
Okay,
you were.
Just tell us what occurred on the punt. Miscommunication, that's all it was on my part. I take complete fault for that. Did you know? Fake? I don't know. It was complete fault. My fault. That's it. Did you know if it has a practice? It's all me. All me. That's something that I did wrong, and that's all.
So you
It
were
was all
aware.
on me. Yep, number 25 out there. That was me. I was the one that did it. But were you aware it was just a fake? Yeah, I messed up. I understand that, but we're just asking if you knew it was.
We just didn't know if it was a communication
Yeah, I
breakdown.
messed up.
Well, we'd like to know some specifics. Like, was it? I think what happened was there's a signal that has to be given to confirm that the play is on, and either Gio gives that signal or the long snapper gives a signal. Either way, it doesn't matter. You can't not be on the same page in a play that's critical to the game. If you're going to make a call like that, and again, I support the call. I think it's clearly they had an advantage there. This is what I've been talking about all year. Find a freaking weakness in the other team. This is your primary job as a coach. During the week, find a weakness for the other team, develop a game plan to execute against that weakness. Can be in special teams, offensively, defensively, third downs, red zone. This is the job of the coaching staff, the primary job. Find those weaknesses and attack them and execute. That's winning football in the opportune times. So there it was. You got the look you wanted. All you got to do is execute the play. And you can't do it. You can't do it.
No,
And talk about accountability. Where's accountability there? You want to run out of the locker room? I'm sorry, Gio. You're a nice man. I love you, brother. One of my friends is neighbors with you, and he loves you to death. He could not speak more highly of you. So I know you're a quality human being, but it's not too much to ask to just answer the questions. And I know you don't want to throw anybody under the bus, so you did that. You didn't let out anything, but you took the blame. So good on you. Good on you. That's the character we expect. But again, why is that happening in that moment? I mean, God, you got one job. You're not even playing in the game. This is all week long. One thing you had to do. One thing.
Yeah, and honestly, other players who play every single down, like Tom Brady's got to answer to his criticism every week.
Every week.
Now, he doesn't really answer them, but he has to at least take the questions.
Yeah.
Devin White, when he was going through that rough patch midway through the season,
he didn't want to answer it either.
He didn't want to answer to it, but eventually he did.
Yeah,
and he gave you the answers.
But doesn't that tell you something about the culture of this team? I just think last year or the year before, they would have stood up and answered the questions. It just feels like everybody's like, no, I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. No, I don't do that. I'm do what I want to do. Do what I want to do. Where's the accountability to the team? Where's the accountability?
I'm just to be honest for you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, a good example yesterday, the New England play, which if you haven't seen it, it's maybe the worst play in NFL history. Jacoby Myers had to stand there in front of the media for 3 minutes by his locker and answer every question, asked every different way.
Yep.
And he did it.
Yep.
And you know what? I saw people praising him in that moment for sticking for facing it and answering all the questions and moving on.
That's culture.
There's a difference there.
That's culture. You know why that happens? Because coaches stand in front of their team and they say, on this team, you have to be accountable to the fans and the media. And if you make a great play after the game, they're going to ask you all about it. If you screw up, you got to stand at your locker, take the fire. It's just reporters asking questions. You're not in a foxhole. You're not in a trench in World War I. Okay? It's football. It's a game. You get paid millions. You got to sit there and take it. It's part of the game. It's part of being a professional. That's the culture we have here. Does that seem like culture in this locker room to you? No.
Does it sound like the culture of a first place team?
No, it doesn't. Culture. Is it about me or is it about the team? Is it about what I want to do or is it about the team and the accountability to the fans and my co-players? Which is it? I think you know what it is on this team. All right, before we get into some of the sound, which is very enlightening, from Lee Galmara, one of our new commenters. Welcome to the show. I think JP is over-exaggerating a bit in regards to the team. Listen, the NFC is a dumpster fire this season. Anybody could beat anybody any Sunday. I don't think this team is one and done. Leo, I gotta disagree with you, brother. What do you see? What does this team do well on a consistent basis that makes you think they can beat the Cowboys or the Eagles or the 49ers? I think we know where that's headed. You saw it against the 49ers, bro. They're non-competitive. If Brady wants to continue playing, Leo says, the film that he's putting out is making teams want to stay away from him. I think he wants to continue. He stays with the Bucs with a competent OC would be better. I just, Leo, I understand what you're saying. I see too many bad throws now. Last year, we didn't see a lot of those bad throws. And this year, more than anything, bad reads, bad decisions. I mean, in the red zone on the first drive, Bates was just sitting there as a safety waiting for the crosser to come to him. I mean, that's elementary 101 quarterback reading.
And further than the actual play, I'm just seeing a guy that just, I don't know if he lacks confidence, but I'm seeing looks on his face now that I have never seen.
Yeah.
He looks completely shell-shocked.
Oh, his swagger is gone. The Brady swagger.
And yesterday, there wasn't screaming and yelling. We didn't really get much of that yesterday. Mm-hmm. We just got this kind of just dark look on his face.
Well, how's he supposed to yell at anybody when he's the problem?
I know that. But even then, like, he wasn't – you just never really seen any of those outbursts yesterday. You just saw a guy who was just like crap, like, this is bad. Like, and there's nothing getting better here. And it's not going to get better. And he knows it.
Yeah.
He knows it. So, we'll have a lot of time to debate what's going on with him in the offseason, if he wants to stay or not. But just right now, why would you want to? Why would you want to go through this again?
Yeah, and I'm not saying Byron is the greatest OC in the world. He's far from it, and he's not a great OC. But, I don't understand this incongruence here is that everybody is on. Byron was here for the last 2 years, okay? And nobody had anything bad to say about them when they were winning. And now suddenly they're not. And it's certainly – and everybody acts like it's not Brady. Well, it's not. And he's part of the problem. There's no question. He's not all the problem, but he's part of the problem.
Here's the thing. We've been over this. There is a lot of guys on those teams that are just not there anymore. We know who all the names are. But even though those names aren't there, there's still enough talent on this offense for you to give me, at least a middle of the road offense. At least. So when that's not happening,
right? Who
am I looking at here? Who am I supposed to look at?
The quarterback, the offensive coordinator, the head coach.
Yeah, I mean, we got to look at something. I'm just it's like yesterday around the league, I'm watching teams that around. How did the Jacksonville Jaguars score 40 points on the second best defense in the league? How can they do it? How can the Texans go to overtime against the Chiefs? How can all these other teams figure it out? But this one can't.
Go look at the tape.
And those teams aren't playing for anything.
Look how many times Trevor Lawrence is running out of the pocket and making plays.
Oh, but Davis Mills is.
Well, he is actually. I saw him do it too.
Not much. My point is that you got teams around the league who are playing for absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And they're able to score points and put it together with loose parts and coordinators who aren't that great. How can they do it? But this team led by Tom Brady with a Hall of Fame receiver and all these other parts, how can you not do it?
It's not the same Tom Brady. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys.
Is it that big of a drop-off, though, to where you can't be a middle-of-the-road offense?
From the 6 games ago, Kurt Warner put out a video, Is Brady Broken? And put down, go look at it. It's 7 to 8 to 12 plays where he's making basic reads that are wrong, like throwing it right to people. And everybody made a big deal about, he's not throwing picks. Look at the tape.
Well, he's throwing them now.
Because they're finally catching him, basically. He's been having turnover-worthy plays all. But again, it's not all on Brady, but everybody says, well, it can't be Brady. Well, yes, it can be Brady. And it can be the lack of Gronk. It can be the lack of the offensive line. I thought fought their ass off yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't have. I mean, the fumble, whatever. Brady's got to hold on to that, and he'll tell you that, and he even admitted it. But I don't think the offensive line has been that bad without Tristan Wirfs as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's not like guys running free and just crushing him right away consistently. It's not happening. A couple other comments here. Randy Cobb says Houston could have scored 4 times from 30 yards out after they got the 17 points. They went right to that play and not to lose conservative offense. That's still good. I don't understand what that means. Can you decipher that?
No, I cannot.
All right. Yeah, we already mentioned Tom Brady. Joe F. says miscommunication is still a horrible answer. You are never in on a punt, and you supposedly practice it all week. How do you not know? Yeah, I don't get that. I just don't get that. To me, that to me is coaching. I'm sorry. You have to make sure that everybody is on the same page. You can't leave anything to chance. I mean, in the end, it is on the player. There's no question. But wow, that just doesn't seem to happen to well-coached teams. That's all I'm saying. Mario Christian says it's like a band member screwing up a march during the halftime show after practicing all week. This is professional football, folks. This is professional football. You can't. That to me is one of the most glaring indictments on the coaching staff. Is that you get something so set up so perfectly, and the main guy who's supposed to handle the ball doesn't know it's coming. It just can't happen.
Well, and again, this is all hindsight speaking to it, and I mean, I think we're talking a lot about this play, but I think rightfully so because it was the start of this whole thing. Giovanni Bernard how many snaps has he had on the entire season? I can't even recall one.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
So in that moment, it's a pretty big play in the game, and you know that this can go south at any moment there. Is Giovanni Bernard the best option to begin with?
Well,
to have that play
he's
in there?
a running back, so and his burst is still pretty good. You want him to get up in the – yeah, it is. I've seen him in practice. I saw him in training camp.
A 31-year-old who hasn't played at all?
I saw him in training camp.
Well, training camp, that ain't the game.
Jerick McKinnon looks pretty good at 31. First of all, I don't think you put in a guy like that that's normally not on the punt team. You don't need a great running back to run that play. You just need a guy who's going to pay attention.
Catch the ball and run.
Is going to catch the ball and run. And, typically a guy that's on the punt team is a guy that is a fringe player in that personal protector part there. but also is like he's going to be cued in. Because it's the only thing he has to do all week. And maybe Gio, it's not like he's taking a lot of reps in practice at the running back spot. I mean, anyway, there are so many other things we need to get into. So let's take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to hear from Todd Bowles. We're going to hear from Tom Brady. We're going to hear from Devin White. We're going to go through a lot of the other plays in this game. Some of the holding calls, some of the other just ridiculous calls in the game. So we'll get to all of it when we come back. We're brought to you by Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com, the #1 private investigation agency in all of Tampa Bay, and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. If your car was totaled and you didn't get the money you thought you should get for your car, then you have a case. Make the call, free consultation. They'll let you know if you have a case at jeeveslawgroup.com. Back at 3. For the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to jeeveslawgroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or italianoinsurance.com. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595, or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashland Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Emerging Investigation, emerginginv.com, and the Jeeves Law Group, who reminds you on this holiday season, do not drink and drive. If you do and you do get caught, make sure you call the Jeeves Law Group to take care of business there, JEEVES lawgroup.com. But let's not do it in the first place, all right? Let's because I think I saw in Pinellas County they had the Wolfpack DUI squad out the other night. All these holiday parties, folks, they are out watching. You shouldn't do it anyway, but just know that they are out watching, and they're going to be stopping people. There'll be DUI checkpoints, so do not drink and drive. Do the Lyft, do the Uber. The folks at Jeeves Law Group just reminding you also that during this time and people are outside riding bikes, the kids are out of school, so just be very careful when you're driving around and make sure we all have a safe and wonderful holiday season. But if something does go wrong, call the Jeeves Law Group at JEEVES lawgroup.com. A couple breaking stories here on Twitter that we'll hit here real quickly. Travis Hunter, former number 1 overall recruit that was signed, sealed, and delivered to FSU before Deion Sanders snatched him up to Jackson State, has entered the portal. And like many other great players, they are looking at Florida State, but certainly not a done deal. Everybody will be after Travis Hunter. Tons of NIL money coming his way. I tell you what, though, if he comes to Florida State, and I know he's been playing both ways, it's a crowded receiving group right now. I don't know if he's going to be able to play much in the wide receiver group. They are absolutely loaded at receiver.
I think he'll find a way.
He's supposedly the best. So.
I mean, I know they lost that game against North Carolina Central this weekend, but he had the touchdown that sent it to overtime at the end.
Yep.
And by all accounts, he dominated the competition like you would expect him to.
Of course. Yeah.
So, Colorado, obviously, he's likely going to go to Colorado. Let's be real here. But a player like that, though, that's so like he's thought of like this kind of transcendent talent, a guy who's a two-way player. He was number 1 overall player in his class. I mean, you have to think that every single team in the country is at least making that phone call.
Absolutely.
I mean, whether he answers or not, that's another thing, but money talks.
Well, but he also, his lifelong dream was to play for Florida State.
Yeah, and it's interesting if he would go back down there again. But I mean, he's also, is he loyal to Deion Sanders? I mean, clearly he felt good enough about it to go play at Jackson State.
Yeah,
for a year.
But how does he feel about Deion leaving? I'm sure Deion told him like, "Hey, listen, if I go,"
he knew right away he would. Yeah, I think we always assume that.
Yeah, so we'll see. But there's a lot. I mean, the portal is just.
What's weird about college football though now, and it's still like you have Deion Sanders goes to Colorado, and he has his son Shedeur stand up and go, "That's your quarterback," and then 2 weeks later he's playing for Jackson State still. It's just weird that he enters the portal right after, so he's gonna go to Colorado. It's bizarro land in college football right now. It's hard to wrap my head around still.
I have a lot of high school coaches that are saying, this transfer portal sucks because these high school players are now being ignored. Not ignored. Maybe ignored is a powerful word, but they certainly are not getting the attention they used to get.
It's just too much going on right now. You got 1,000 players in the portal.
I mean, yeah, and those players have college football tape. So,
and as we've seen, FSU's a good example. You use the portal, you can make a quick turnaround just like that. It's almost like, I'm not going to say more important, but it's at least equally.
Well, just think about it from a coaching standpoint. You've got tape on a guy who's actually playing in the SEC or the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So and how much more reliable is that than tape of high school? Because I guess in high school, you just never know what the competition level is, right? Game to game, watching highlights. It's a little bit tougher to make an evaluation on players. Whereas if you have players that have been in college, you know what they can and cannot do.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, the transfer portal is also full of guys that are disgruntled, guys that think they're better than they actually are, guys that have attitudes. So you got to be really, really careful about where, who you're looking at and who you're bringing into your team to create your culture.
Yep.
So,
hey, also too, speaking of the portal and recruiting and all that, here local USF is
crushing it,
hitting the ground running right now under Alex Golish. I mentioned to you because with all the stuff going on yesterday, a lot of people might have missed it, but USF got 7 commitments yesterday. 7 commitments and 3 in the transfer portal. One of them here, and a lot of them are all from this area, Tampa, Lakeland area. So that's kind of new for USF. But Lloyd Summerall, who's from Florida defensive end, he came in here. They got a 4-star cornerback that was at Oklahoma to come in here. So some stature there as well.
That's a big deal.
And then getting 3 other recruits added. So it looks like a good day for Alex Golesh and USF. And that's his calling card, recruiting, like we said.
Jordan Gamillion is asking, I've been trying to research, is there any tampering rules with players under scholarship, or can you recruit other teams' players before they enter the portal? I think, there are rules that you cannot contact them, but guys do anyway. I mean, it's one of those things that, how are you going to stop it? Guys, you get somebody's phone number, a guy talks to a guy, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's becoming just like free agency. Sooner or later, these guys are going to have somewhat, agents working for them.
Probably.
Yeah, they need it. They need it. So this is, and it's all being done without a structure of rules for the most part. I mean, to answer your question, Jordan, more than anything else, there are some rules in place, but nobody's paying attention to them. NIL, like the NCAA came out before the season, is like, hey, wait a minute. If you're a booster and you're giving NIL money to a player, that's still a violation. It's like, no, it's not. You have no power anymore, NCAA. You can't enforce these rules anymore. All they have to do is say, hey, I'm paying him to come do an autograph signing at my car dealership, or I'm paying him to come clean my house. It doesn't freaking matter. It's just, if you can pay them for their name, image, and likeness now. He signed an autograph for me. I gave him $1 million. It is what it is. Yeah. So there are rules, but nobody's really paying attention to them, I guess I should say.
And the other thing, too, that shows just how just trying to make sense of everything. Like this weekend, we talked a lot about Florida playing Oregon State. They go out there and they score 3 points in Las Vegas, right?
Right.
And what happened was Billy Napier has to continue having practices for a bowl game with guys who are kind of in and kind of out. You're still trying to focus on recruiting. You're still trying to focus on the portal, keeping guys in, keeping guys out. Oh, and I got to prepare for a bowl game, too, with a third-string quarterback.
Right.
Or second-string quarterback, whatever. And they score 3 points, and guess what's happened? UF has now lost some steam on the recruiting trail because they had to put resources into a meaningless bowl game at the end of the day to score 3 points.
Right.
How's that in the good interest of anybody?
No, it made them look worse.
It made them look worse.
It
and it didn't help because there's a lot of players that they were kind of after here that were committing, and they lost out on some of them.
Yeah. It's hard. Like, and this is why if you're better out there, pay attention to programs who are on the rise. Like, for instance, FSU. FSU is treating this bowl game, the Cheez-It Bowl with Oklahoma, like it's the first game of their comeback for next year. Like, they are targeting, they feel like they can win an ACC championship and a national championship next year. So Mike Norvell is positioning this. This is our coming out party for 23. So guys are all in. Everybody's playing.
Yeah.
Everybody's all in. Jordan's in. They're going out there to make a statement, and they're going to make a statement against Oklahoma, who's got a terrible defense. Florida State's going to roll up about 50, 60 points in this game. Ooh. I would bet the freaking house. And I know I'm a homer when it comes to FSU, but I'm trying to look at this objectively as a better. What is Oklahoma playing for? They're 6-6. They don't give a rat's ass about this game. They just want to go home.
They're in a transition period.
I mean, they have I don't think they have any, a lot of confidence in their coach or what direction they're going in.
They got a defensive head coach and their defense stinks.
Yeah. I mean, it's bad. And it's not only, but what's worse is when you've been at the mountaintop for a lot of these players, like Oklahoma has been for a long time, and then suddenly you're just crap on a stick. I mean, they can't wait to get this thing over with. And now they got to go to Orlando and play against a team. And that first quarter is going to be like an avalanche of people coming at you. That running game, what is it, 7.5?
Yeah.
Oh. It's free money, bro. I'm just saying.
Well,
that's free money.
You stay making money. You made money yesterday off the Bucs.
I made a lot of money
off the Bucs.
You continue
to do, by the way.
They're 110-1.
You continue to make money off the Bucs every week.
Was that my friend who I told, he called me in the morning, he wanted to bet $1,000 on the Bucs. I'm like, hey, that's where
on the Bucs?
On the Bucs. I'm on the Bengals.
Oh, okay.
On the Bengals. And I said, listen, there's a lot of sharp money coming in on the on the Bucs. And that was true yesterday. That's why that number stayed at 3.5. I was shocked that it was 3.5. And that's what it stayed at. And because there was a lot of sharp money coming in on the Buccaneers. I even heard one of the touts on one of the gambling shows say, hey, listen, I don't understand this line, but everybody's putting money on the Bucs, so I'm not touching it. I'm not touching. Somebody knows something. I'm not touching it. And then they go out in the first half, and I'm like, damn, somebody knew something.
Well,
somebody knew something.
No.
And then the Bucs.
No, here's the thing. I know who the Bucs are, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I know who the Bucs are.
Yeah. That was interesting. Though,
Nobody. Let's be honest. The Bucs were up 17-0, and not even in the back of my mind. It was clearly in the front of my mind.
Yeah.
I'm still saying to myself, how are they going to screw this up? How are they going to screw this up?
But they were playing so well, and I'm like, yes, this is what we've been looking for. This is how you guys can play. You know, you're throwing the ball downfield. Brady looked confident, he's stepping into throws. You know, they were doing some different things with the jet sweeps and the reverse.
The Bengals had like 15 plays of offense in the first half.
Yeah, because they were
because
they remember the first drive, they kind of went right down the field, and then the Bucs got the turnover on the tip ball. I think they got 3. I didn't even think they had a third down in the first 9 plays. They went right down the field, and I'm like, oh, and we were playing soft, and Burrow was picking them apart, and I'm like, oh. And then Keanu Neal got the tip and the interception he caught the ball. Thank God.
Oh, I couldn't believe it.
Oh, my God. And it was up in the air. And I'm like, I'm like, the ball's up in the air forever. Somebody has to catch this ball. And somebody did. Eureka.
And the guy who never catches the ball either.
And so, and then they, drive back. They get the touchdown. I'm like, okay, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
And then,
and by the way, hindsight is what it is, by the way. But we're looking at how many points did the Bucs lose by? 11, right?
Yeah.
It was basically worse than that, though.
Yeah, that was a charity touchdown.
But I'm just like thinking about all the plays in the game they left out on the field still, even when they were playing well. Like the first drive, and we've seen this a lot. They start out good, they go all the way down, and then just stalls when they get near the goal line.
Yeah. Once again, red zone has just been
in that moment.
Awful.
They took the points, but
4th and 1.
And aggressive had been kind of their MO yesterday. Should they have been aggressive there and gone for it and try to get the touchdown? For a team that's been struggling to get it in the end zone, you're playing the better team. I probably would have done that.
I would.
And then also, they went for a 4th down around midfield at one point, if I'm not mistaken, later in the game, and got it. And did it confidently, by the way.
Confidently, yes. They converted 2 4th downs.
Yeah. Well, then you have a 4th and 3, and you're kind of in that no man's land again.
They go for the field goal.
Could we punt? Do we go for it, or do we kick a 50-yard field goal? And this is a problem. I love Ryan Suckup. He has stabilized the kicking position. But in the modern NFL, if I can't trust my kicker to make a 50-yard field goal,
at least be 50%.
You see why they had Borregales in there in camp. And unfortunately, he just couldn't hit the gimmies, and that's why he's not on this team at Suckup.
Which was the right move.
But again, if I can't trust my kicker to make a 50-yard field goal,
modern NFL, man.
Modern NFL, I can't do it. And number 2, if you're Todd Bowles, why are you putting him in that situation? Nobody had confidence he was making that kick.
Nobody.
He probably didn't even have confidence he was making that kick.
Plus, your offense is hot.
And he's not even close, by the way, on these kicks either.
Your offense is hot. Let's go.
Your offense is hot. I would have gone for it there, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have,
in that moment. I mean, these are just plays, and it's hindsight. I get it. We can play Monday morning quarterback all we want. But I'm just saying, to me, they all mean something. As good as they played in that first half, they still left things out there.
No, absolutely. I agree. They should have been up 24-3.
And again, margin of error being what it is for this team, these things matter.
100%.
These things matter.
100%. By the way, we're going to get to the rest of the NFL. There were so many bizarre plays.
Crazy day yesterday.
And by the way, Saturday night's Bills-Dolphins game brought me back to the 90s and some of the great games of the past. The snow was blowing. Every play was a big play, either on defense or offense. It was one of the most fascinating games I've ever seen. Just the guys, snow doing a snow angel, brushing off the snow.
Snowballs being thrown at
Couldn't
players.
believe they didn't run the I was telling Ashley as we're watching this game, I'm like, they're going to show the video of the snowplow caper back in the 70s. If you're a Dolphin fan, you remember this well. When they were playing in the old Foxborough Stadium, and the field was completely covered with snow, and the Patriots call a timeout, and the guy who was actually on work release from the prison was running the little snowplow thing. He comes out and he clears it off right where John Smith, I think, was the kicker, was going to kick the ball, and John runs up, kicks it through, and everybody's like, "What the hell was that? You can't do that." I was waiting for them to show that video, but they didn't. But the guys cleared it off, and he kicks in. And that game was crazy because who was the running back that took a dive at the 2-yard line with 35 seconds left? The Dolphins had no timeouts. So they decided that they wanted to run the clock out and not give Miami a chance to come back. But they would have had 35. If he runs in for the score, okay, which he could have done, they score, they go up. I think they go up 5 points. 5? Yeah, I think they were leading. They go up 5 or 6 more than a field goal. So Miami would have had to drive the length of the field in 35 seconds in a blowing snowstorm with no timeouts. But they decided to take a knee, and then they run the clock out and they hit the field goal. If he misses that field goal and they have to go to overtime, are you kidding me? That's the worst call in history. Worst call in history. So that was one of the most incredible games, and the signs that were holding up, freeze the fish. There were just so many images in that game that I'll never forget. That was a bizarre game. And then, also on Saturday, the Colts blow a 33-point lead.
Man,
Jeff Saturday.
If that's what it takes, Saturday Night Football, I love it. Saturday, that was a great slate.
Oh my God, it was unbelievable. You came up with an interesting thought about the Colts game.
Well, I mean, let's be honest here. The Colts hired an interim head coach who was at an ESPN desk the week prior or the day prior, whatever. They're openly tanking. They're openly tanking, and
you think Irsay told him at halftime, if you win this game,
they were up 36-7. There's no other logical explanation that I can give you other than the fact that Jim Irsay made a phone call and ordered the code red or something and said, "Hey, I need you to tank this one for me, buddy."
I didn't see
we got a top 5 draft pick to worry about here.
I didn't see the whole second half flop, but
it's amazing all the things that went wrong for the Vikings in the second half, and they were still able to pull this off.
Yeah,
they had like 2 touchdowns called back. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that.
And a bunch of other things, penalties, whatnot that happened, and they still were able to overcome that and win that game. I mean, it's like everything that could have gone wrong for the Vikings went wrong, and they still were able to do it. The Colts, to me, it's like they stopped playing.
Yeah.
They just completely stopped playing. I wouldn't be surprised if Jim Irsay, and to me, it's not out of the realm of possibility to believe it. It's not. Because Jim Irsay is just one of those owners that's way too involved.
No.
And it's believable when it comes to a guy like that he probably made a phone call to Jeff Saturday and said, "Hey, I need you to stop doing this right now because we got 4 wins. We're in line for a top 5 pick.
What are you doing?
Do you see that statue that's your quarterback right now? We got to replace that statue next year with this top 5 pick.
Yeah.
So stop winning."
Makes a lot of sense.
I think it fits.
Makes a lot of sense. But yeah, congratulations, Jeff Saturday. And then the Bucs said, "Hold my beer."
But before that, the Patriots said too.
The Patriots like, "Oh yeah."
Oh, but the Cowboys did that prior though.
That's right. The Cowboys. We don't want
just
to
a crazy day.
We don't want to forget the Cowboys.
A crazy day.
Oh my God.
Was there another one I missed? The Chiefs they were close to it.
The Chiefs almost lost. Despite 500 yards of offense, Mahomes' numbers were off the charts, and they scored 24 points. You know why? Because they had 10 penalties. 10 penalties. Penalties yesterday were killer for the Bucs too. They were an absolute killer. Stupid penalties and bad calls too. Oh, and how about the Redskins game? The Redskins-Giants game.
The Commanders game?
Commanders. My bad. Oh my God. You guys all right? Did I trigger anybody? Is everybody okay? The side judge, literally, Terry McLaurin's lining up. They're at the 2-yard line. He looks he has to shift up because there's a shift going on. Mm-hmm. He looks at the ref, and the ref gives him the thumbs up, like you're on the line. That's what you do. You look at the ref. Am I good? Yeah, you're good. He gives him the thumbs up, and then the ref goes like this and has his hand on the flag. He's waiting, like, you just gave me a thumbs up, and then McLaurin looks over at him. He goes, and he's got his hand on the flag while they're lining up. And then Robinson scores.
Yeah.
He scores on the play. He throws the flag for illegal formation. And McLaurin's like, "What are you talking about, man? You just gave me the thumbs up, and then you reached for your flag. Like, I'm sorry." And then the next play, Heineke throws the ball to Curtis Samuel, who literally gets mugged in the end zone. The defender is on his back like this. He's hugging him. He's hugging him before the ball arrives, a good second before the ball arrives. I mean, it's the most obvious pass interference maybe I've ever seen in my life. And they no call it. If I'm betting that game, I'm telling my bookie, I ain't paying. I'm not paying. Come break my legs. Go break the legs of the side judge and the other guy.
It looked a little rigged.
Like that's a crew right there that should be suspended. The entire crew should be suspended and maybe fired.
Maybe Roger Goodell chimed in from somewhere and told them to rig that game.
I mean, if you want to say
Snyder's got dirt on him, I'm just saying. In the interest of full conspiracies today. In the interest of full conspiracies today.
So they got a pay raise. They're
Maybe.
not going to be suspended. They got a pay raise.
Pay raise. Keep the Commandos out of my playoffs.
The code red was ordered.
I'm telling you. I'm full into the conspiracies today.
Oh, how could you not looking at that? I mean, that is.
What's the other explanation? The ref literally was like, yeah, you're good. You're good. All right, I'm going to flag this guy.
And I don't know how a guy can make that play in the end zone without. Don't worry, we're not going to call anything. We got the code red from Goodell. You can do whatever you want. Mug him as much as you want. Just don't let him catch it.
And I'm listening to like former refs talk about it. They're like, well, a lot of times.
Yeah, you're good, Terry. You're on the ball.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I reached for my flag.
But like on the PI play though, it's like I'm listening to like other refs. I think it was Terry McCauley who was the NBC guy was talking about it. And he's like, well, a lot of times late in the game, refs they just don't want to call something late in the game like that. And that's why you never see any penalties on like Hail Marys, even though there's a penalty on every single Hail Mary.
Right.
But in this case, this wasn't a Hail Mary. This was a normal passing play in the end zone, game on the line.
It's a 6-yard.
It doesn't matter what part of the game it is. A foul is a foul.
No.
I've never understood that theory. Like if it's a foul in the first quarter, it's a foul in the fourth quarter.
And then he also said as far as the McLaurin penalty goes, that's too ticky-tack.
Yeah, it's too ticky-tack.
Because you never call that in that situation. And he goes, first of all, I think the guy was on the line. It's not even a foul. But second of all, you would never make that call, even if he was a half a yard off. You don't make that call in that situation. So, I mean, what the hell was going on there? That's bizarre.
Yeah, and it's the same thing in like the Bucs game. It's pass interference and holding. Those are the two penalties that have become so subjective. It's every referee has their own interpretation. It
and the
feels
roughing the
passer, all these penalties. It hurt the Bucs. It hurt the Bucs yesterday. There was a play. I think it was the T. Higgins touchdown in the back of the end zone.
Yeah,
it was blatant holding on the right tackle.
Oh my God!
Blatant holding on the right tackle.
JTS and right out on an island where everybody could see it. And it was instrumental to the play because if he doesn't get held, he's hitting Burrow before he can release the ball.
Yeah, and you're not giving up a touchdown.
And you're not giving up a touchdown. It's a huge call in the game. And it's right after the Bucs just got called for.
They were in the middle of imploding.
But the Bucs got called for what I thought was a dicey face mask call on Carlton Davis. He grabbed the helmet, which he shouldn't have done. But and Chase had to turn his head at the same time, but he never grabbed the face mask. That was a bad call on a 3rd and 8. They would have forced a long field goal. It's a key situation in the game. Then it was a 4th down. Levante David, I thought it was holding. I thought it was a good call on Levante David on Jamar Chase. Here's my question. Why on 4th down is Levante David man-to-man with Jamar Chase? Because guess what's going to happen? He's going to have to hold him.
Yeah, likely. Yeah,
he's gonna have to hold him.
But even on
what
the big,
defense
there
was
another big play too, where I think it was Mike Evans had a long play, and Chris Godwin got called for a block.
Oh, a blindside block next to the play. That was a terrible call.
I didn't see that one either. And then later
he got his shoulder and his head in front of the player who was about to tackle. It's not like this was 10 yards away from the play. He was about to tackle Mike Evans, and Godwin came, got his head in front, got his shoulder in front, and did the guy see him? No, he didn't see him. That's on him. That's on him. That is not a crackback.
What is Chris Godwin supposed to do there?
Exactly. What is he supposed to do?
Isn't that what he's taught to do?
Yeah. If he comes at him and tries to shield him, he could probably get hurt because that guy's running full speed. If he tries to just shield him, he's going to mow him over.
Yeah.
He's got to hit him.
And then the last one.
That's a terrible call.
And then the last one that I didn't understand, this was later in the game, and I think the game had already been decided at this point, but I'm going to mention it anyway, was the encroachment penalty on Nakeem Munoz-Roches.
Yes. Yeah.
It was false start on Joe Burrow.
Yes, it was.
It was clearly false start on Joe Burrow.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, this is, again, how do these guys miss this stuff? And they don't have the benefit of having a replay in front of them where it's in slow motion and all that. I get it. But my goodness, what are you looking at?
Most of those I could see in real time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. We all saw it in real time.
Yeah.
How do you miss these things?
Yeah. The officiating is never
and listen,
been worse.
I'm not absolving the Bucs. They have this people did that last week too in the 49ers game. No, they just got their ass kicked.
Yeah.
And then in this one, they just self-imploded. They were never going to win the game even if they get these calls, to be honest with you. But who knows? I mean, it's I just want to see better officiating. We all just want to see better officiating.
It just seems like this year, especially, that there's so many egregious calls in key situations that are just that are changing games, and they're just bad calls. I understand bad calls every now and then, but these are just.
It's like, what are we doing? Are we trying to just like put more drama in the game? Like what's the objective here?
You know what? This week, I think like the majority, almost 11 or 12 games were one-score games or overtime games.
Yeah, it's like the first time it's ever happened on an NFL Sunday.
Yeah, if that's their
I guess
objective,
it worked.
It's working. Hey, folks, it's that time of year to renew or shop your health insurance provider. You can get great health insurance for $20, $30, $50 a month. Just call 888-325-0605 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. Right, this is a government program that can get you cheap insurance depending on what your income level is. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. That's a humongous number, folks. Don't do it. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield Florida Blue coverage for $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. It all depends on your income and your family situation. So it's a free call. Let these folks help you. They're accredited, they're highly trained, and they will make sure they do everything right, and you'll find out what your subsidy is. 888-325-0605. They'll ask you a couple simple questions and be able to tell you what your subsidy is going to be. So it's a lifesaver, folks. There's no reason you should not have health insurance now. It's very affordable with the subsidy program. 888-325-0605. Get covered like me and save thousands of dollars. 888-325-0605. And tell them you heard it on the JP Show. All right, we'll take a quick break. We got so much to talk about. We haven't been able to get to Bowles and Brady. So we'll get to Bowles and Brady right after this break. Promise. Stay with us. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call? 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations.
Well, it's that time of year to renew or shop your health insurance provider, and you can get great health insurance for $20, $30, $50 a month. Just call 888-325-0605 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. Not true. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. Oh, well. It all depends on your income and your family situation. It's a free call, 888-325-0605. They will ask for some income information. So if you have your tax returns available, that will be great, but you don't need it. They'll just answer some simple questions, and the highly trained reps will do the work for you to find out what your subsidy will be. 888-325-0605. And if you have a plan through your employer, you may be able to get it cheaper. It's a free call, so find out, folks. This has been a lifesaver for me and saved me thousands of dollars over the last few years, and you can choose your plan. It's a no-brainer. Find out. Make the free call. 888-325-0605. Get covered like me and thousands of others. 888-325-0605. Oh, Merry Christmas. Santa Claus here for the Golden Diamond Source. All right, it's JP. The holidays are the best time for engagements, right? And where better to get that special ring than the Golden Diamond Source? They have the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a jewelry superstore with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. So avoid all the mall madness and the parking and all that BS and stay local, right? With the Golden Diamond Source, Julie and Steve Weintraub are the family jewelers, and they'll treat you like family. And of course, they do so many great things in the community. I was just at their Hands Across the Bay, a charity event. So many people stepped up to give money for these women that have been victims of domestic abuse. It is something to behold when these women come forward and talk about what Julie and Steve have done for them, and the Golden Diamond Source funds Hands Across the Bay, and so many other great companies jump in. That's what it's all about, community, right? So let's keep it local for the holidays. If you want a perfect gift for the holidays, you should check out the unique and beautiful handcrafted jewelry from the Emilique and Julieve collections that feature fashion-forward gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry. And don't forget, for the holidays only, 3 to 5 year interest-free financing. It's a no-brainer for the holidays. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Almerton Road, always online at thegoldendimondsource.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. So much to get to on this Loser Monday, again, for the Buccaneers and their fans. What an awful collapse yesterday against a really red-hot Cincinnati team. It just, makes fans so – it's worse. Seeing you play so well and like, okay, this is the team we know you can be. This is what we've been waiting for all year long. This is what we saw against Seattle. Why can't you guys be this all the time? Oh, there we go, second half. 5 straight turnovers, a debacle unlike any I've ever seen in Bucs history, and that's saying something. I think it was I was sitting with the Joe Bucs fan guys and Rock Riley last night watching the game in the press box, which is a joy. Those guys have just seen a lot of great Bucs football, and we were talking about some of the great old stories and just watching this team implode. And Ira actually went back and looked at it, and this team is scoring less than the 2012 Lovie Smith Buccaneers. Was that
2014?
2014. The team that was tanking for Jameis, trying to lose with Josh McCown and won 2 games, scored more points than this team is scoring. How about that?
Led by Tom Brady.
I mean, you want to talk about a level of incompetence of coaching. Yeah, wow, it's unbelievable.
And what is the other thing I saw? You mentioned you saw a lot of I'm sure you remember this one too. Where is it out here? It was something about yesterday's loss. Here it is. They gave up 31 points to the Bengals in the second half. That's the most they've allowed in any second half since the 35 they surrendered against the Colts in that infamous Monday Night Football game.
Yes.
That's how far back we're going for what we saw yesterday.
That was the end of the Super Bowl team.
Yeah, so
game.
You were talking about a debacle unlike anything you've ever seen. That debacle, that one probably tops this one just a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, that was a number one, yeah.
But anyway, we're seeing a lot of losses that are just going down in Bucs history in a bad way, though.
Yeah. That was.
In fact, how do you rank these?
But this thing with the 4 turnovers in 10 plays.
Yeah,
like,
that's hard to top.
That's new.
That's hard to do. That's what I'm saying. Like
on top of the disastrous fake punt.
Yeah.
I mean, and the way, those turnovers, it's like, okay, Brady, like that wasn't even a forced turnover. You're turning around and handing the ball to Leonard Fournette and it slips out of your Michael Jackson gloved hand. What are you doing? Like, and then you're going to the ground, you're taking the sack, you're moving up in the pocket, and you're not covering the ball up with 2 hands.
And that's usually priority number 1 for him, is he just surrenders and goes secures.
Yeah. What are you doing? And then throw to Brady. Like, what is that?
Yeah. And that's why
you're throwing it right to the guy.
And that's why I'm asking, like the worst losses this year. It's like I thought nothing would top the Panthers one.
But you never
But-
looked good. I mean, you were literally beating the crap out of a very good football
That's
team.
what I'm saying. Like, in a way, like this one hurts more than those.
Way more. Because it reminds you of the promise of what could have been.
I actually wish it hadn't happened, though. The promise of what could have been, because there's a lot of people now talking about, oh, well, they found the formula.
Yeah,
they found the formula,
See,
so they
Brady
could do
can
it.
be good.
Tony Romo, after the game on the TV copy, said, "I come away from this game. I thought the Bucs were dead coming into it, but I don't think they are anymore after this one." And I'm like, "Excuse me, Tony? He thinks they actually found a formula now that they can use for the rest of the season, but they didn't stick to the formula.
No.
They used it for like 25 minutes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When this team starts going bad, they panic. That's part of your team. Not only do the players panic, but the coaching staff panics. and they just don't know how. This coaching staff does not know how to manage a game at all in any way, shape, or they're just terrible at managing. And the players don't know how to continue with effort.
No. Well, let's listen to what the coach had to
All
say.
right, so
after the game.
by the way, just a quick aside, we're sitting in there waiting for Bowles, and normally it takes about 3 to 5 minutes for him to come in. This was probably close to 10 to 12 minutes. It seemed abnormally long. So I don't know if it was what he was talking to his team about in the locker room, or if somebody pulled him aside from ownership group or Jason Light. None of it was good. What is that? What is that? The guy crying in the.
Oh, that was the guy from Jackson State, the one that dropped the touchdown.
Oh, I hate that for college players like that, man.
Yeah, it's a great video. Like this video right here just shows you what Dion is. So we maybe could play that later though.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
We'll stick with Bulls here though for now.
Here's well, we'll stop this down from time to time because it's interesting back and forth with the media.
Coach, what happened on the snap on the punt to Gio early in the third quarter?
He missed the ball.
Did you order a fake punt in that situation?
Yeah, we needed 1 yard. We had it, and we practiced it all week. We just didn't handle the football.
He was aware that it was a fake punt.
Yes.
What would you say to your team in there right now? What did you say to your team in there right now?
We're pissed off. We can't have, it's the same old song, Bucs versus Bucs. We play a good first half, and the second half we come out and we shoot ourselves in the foot either by turnovers or penalties or field position on special teams. And, tale of two halves. And the half we played in the second half was Bucs versus Bucs.
Did Gio know the call was made? It looked like he wasn't even ready for the ball.
He knew it was coming.
What would you charge?
Let's stop right there. He knew it was coming, but Gio said he didn't know it was coming. Now, Bowles talks at 12:30 today, so we may get some clarification. But basically, he's saying he knew it was coming. We practiced it all week. How can that happen? It's just this is high school stuff, man. It cannot happen. It just can't happen. All right, let's continue.
Talk up a lot more pressure to Brady in the second half before you guys were really playing from behind, but it seemed like the Bengals had an easier time getting to him in the second half.
Well, we got to block them better. We got to protect them better. It's really that simple.
Were they stunting more in the second half?
They didn't do no more than we saw on film. We knew everything that was coming. They did a good job doing it.
How can you try and fix the Bucs versus Bucs thing that's been holding you back the last couple of weeks?
Well, we work at it every week. In football, you can do is fight. You can fight, you can play smarter, you can coach smarter, and we got to keep fighting. We understand what we're doing is not good enough by far. It's not even close to good enough, and we got 3 games left to try to save our season.
Do they have enough fight?
They had a lot of fight. We just didn't play smart.
What was the thought process for going for the fake punt there when you guys already had a lead in the first half and seemed to be moving the ball really, really well?
And it was 4th and 1. They had a front that we could take advantage of. It was blocked well. We could have ran for 4 or 5 yards. We missed the ball.
Todd Brady's been so good at limiting his turnovers early in the season. It's 4 in a span of 11 plays tonight. What happens to change that and let things go so bad so quickly?
There's a lot of things that happen. Could be blocking, could be a bad ball, could be a great play. I know we turned it over in 6 possessions. We probably played them all on the plus 50 going in the second half. And field position from that standpoint, turnovers, not getting red zone stops with some penalties had a lot to do with it.
Why is it so hard? And I know it is, and I'm asking for a lot here, but on those turnovers, it could be blocking, could be a bad ball. Is it just so hard to just say Tom's got to be better there?
No,
is it so hard to say?
This is what I don't get about Bowles. It's just like he's just got this, and this is where I go to accountability. You know, the players know that they're not going to be called out in the media ever, 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 ever. I mean, you can't sit there and say Tom was bad tonight. You know, we can't. You know, he just didn't get the ball to Leonard. He fumbled the ball. There's nobody around him. He's going down on a sack. You got to protect the ball. The throw to Brate, I don't know what he's thinking. There's a safety right there, or whoever it was that picked it. Why can't you call guys out?
I don't even need all that detail. All you got to just tell me is, yeah, Tom's got to be better there. It's just anything.
Yeah.
But it's like we're allergic to just saying anything about the guy.
Right.
Like, why is it so hard for people to admit? It's like, again, I'm not trying to make this a Bash Brady thing, but objectively, he did not play well in that moment. 4 turnovers in 11 plays.
I mean, the closest he came was with Gio. It's like, you know, but can you not just say, look, you know, here's what happened. We sent the play in, and he knew we were going to fake it. Like, we've practiced this all week.
This is a theme all year.
Why can't, like, and I'm telling you, I'm here to say, if the players, if they're not accountable in the media, are they accountable? You want to think, oh, they're accountable in the locker room. Are they?
And this is what I'm saying. We can't say anything bad about Brady. Right. We couldn't say anything bad about Devin White when he was going through his rough stretch of play.
No.
Unbelievably.
No, actually said good things.
But then when Nick Lever gets in there, we can praise him a little bit, but then we got to add the little caveat at the end. But his technique was off. His technique was poor. I don't care. He did the job.
Right.
That's the thing that bothers me. It's like we pick and choose who we're gonna like actually speak about and who not.
And
it's odd.
That goes to culture.
It's odd.
Exactly. It goes to culture. Guys know that they're not going to be called out.
Like the star players get left off the hook here.
And I'm not saying that, you know, they purposefully play bad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm thinking it's just, I don't know. I don't know what, you know, when I was growing up, my dad, if I did something wrong, I knew in the back of my head, like, oh, I better not do this because my dad's going to whoop my ass. You know, it's like it's not like you're subconsciously thinking it and you're consciously thinking it. And I don't think these guys ever really feel like, you know, there's accountability.
Well, is there, I don't know how to put, like, is there any guy on this coaching staff that has like a different demeanor? Like, cause like Bowles is very like mellow. We know that. Even Byron seems like he's very mellow. Like, who's that guy in there that you actually have legit fear of messing up?
Larry Foote, I think a little
Larry
bit.
Foote, maybe.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
Who else? I mean, anybody else? Collectively, it just seems like a staff that just has one identity.
Yeah.
And it's like that. Is that a good thing?
No, it's not a good thing. You have to have an ass buster.
There's not one.
You have to have a few of them.
Bruce was the ass buster.
He was. He called people out in the meetings. He called them out publicly. He called there was accountability. He was always talking about accountability. Do you hear Bowles talk about accountability?
I mean, he kind of does, but I don't see it.
No, he says we have to play better. We have to coach better. We have to play better. We have to coach better. Sometimes it's this. Sometimes we're not asking about sometimes. We're asking about this specific game. Okay, this specific game. What happened on the turnovers?
Yeah, and the guys who did take accountability, they were kind of forced into it throughout the year.
Right.
They were forced into it. Giovanni Bernard was essentially forced into it.
That was my point earlier in the show.
Yeah, Devin White was forced into doing it.
In New England Patriot land, who was it?
Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers stands there for 3 minutes and takes all the heat.
Yeah.
In Tampa Bay land, you have the PR people have to wrangle Gio Bernard and keep him from walking out of the
and wrangle Devin White
and wrangle Devin White to talk to the media. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't remember that last year. Of course, they weren't losing a lot the last couple of years, so I get that. But still, it's like, you know, there's a culture of accountability. And this one, it's like, yeah, I don't want to talk to the media. Screw you people. You know, and by the way, you're not being accountable to the media. You're being accountable to the fans, the people that pay your salary. That's who you're being accountable to. And my God, it's football. Again, you're not in a trench in World War I. You're not in a foxhole in Vietnam. You're in a cushy locker room. You're going to go pick up your check for $1 million to play football. And all we ask of you is to sit there and say, yeah, I effed up. And you can't do that? Like, seriously. All right, whatever. Continue.
Could you identify any positives from tonight?
We play hard and we play tough. We got to play smart for 4 quarters.
Coach, later in the third, when the offense was stifled and the defense
things were going downhill, I saw you go over to the defensive bench and were talking to the players. What did you say at that point to them?
I don't think it was about going downhill. We were talking scheme. I mean, we talk scheme and schematics of probably somebody that messed up or things we can do.
Hindsight's 20/20, but is that a heck of a risk to take when you're in control of a football game to try a fake punt in that situation?
No, it's the perfect time.
I agree.
Todd, after you see these turnovers happen one after the other, 5 in a row, what's going through your mind in the third quarter?
Well, trying to get stops. You know, it's a team game. If they turn it over, we got to get stops. If defense gives up a touchdown, offense got to come back and get one. It's a team game. You know, we're not placing blame on one side of the ball or the other. We're in this thing together, and we're going to fight. We just can't turn the ball over, and when we do, we got to make stops.
Right, stop it.
How would Winfield?
Why is he so adverse to placing blame? That goes to accountability. The reason you place blame on people so they don't do it again. Like, yeah, that was your fault. You need to. It's like, what? Do they never do this?
And by the way, to the point of the defense has
like
got to
it.
make the defense has got to make stops. But look what you're asking them to do.
Oh yeah.
You know what the Bengals' worst starting field position was in that game? From their own 38. So essentially, they're literally 12 yards away from midfield. That was their worst starting position for a drive yesterday. That was it. And they had 4 or 5 on the Bucs side of the field.
Yeah, your defense is toast at that point. That's why I don't.
And by the way, your defense made a lot of stops.
Yeah, they did.
They made a lot of stops and bailed your offense and your special teams out.
Against a great offensive team.
That's humming.
Yeah.
So I understand you want to say you want to put it on a team and the defense has got to make stops. Come on.
Yeah, he keeps saying that. It's like, no. If I'm a defensive player, I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? The offense is giving up the booty like you're like you're in New Orleans whorehouse, and it was free. Wow. Like there's no, like even these press conferences, there's no accountability.
Every press conference we have, it doesn't matter if it's Bowles, Byron.
Your man just turned the ball over 4 times in 10 plays, and you can't say a bad word about Tom Brady.
But the defense has got to make stops, though. When he does turn it over, the defense has got to make stops.
If I'm a defensive player, I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? That matters.
Started the game, came out with the ankle, came back in, and then was out again. Where do things stand for him with that?
Still got to see. He got sore, so we kept him out of it right there and let Delaney play. We'll see where he is this week.
Todd, you're up 10-0 in the first half, 4th and 1. You opt to go for a field goal. What led you to that decision? Your defense was playing well at that point.
We wanted to go with 2 scores. It was field goal range. He'd been hitting them consistently. We wanted to get points out of it.
Well, stop.
2 outside linebackers.
That was the 50-yard one, right? We're talking about?
Yeah.
He'd been hitting them consistently from 50?
I thought the week prior in San Francisco, the long that he had in warm-ups was 51.
Yeah, the long he had in warm-ups was 51.
So that's literally his max, basically.
Yeah.
And for him to hit that, everything has to go perfectly.
Right. And you're at the 35-yard line?
Yeah, it was a 50-yarder.
So 37-yard line, and it's 4th and 1.
I don't think it's a hard decision there on what I'm doing.
It's not, especially where your offense is humming.
So, like, you're aggressive sometimes, but then other times you're not. So even when they're trying to be aggressive, they still got 1 foot in the bucket.
Yeah, see, there's no confidence or consistency to that.
No.
There's no confidence or consistency whatsoever. And again, you got to have a play for 4th and 1. For the coaches, that's what you've been doing all week.
It shouldn't be hard to do it.
And by the way, I saw this play work 3 times yesterday. 1 for a game-winning touchdown. The backside tight end.
You love the backside
tight end. It's always open. I'm thinking, when's the last time the Bucs ran the backside tight end?
Did you see the Lions?
I can't remember.
The Lions did it in the Jets game.
Yeah.
And got like a 55-yard touchdown off of it.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking
about. The guy was wide open.
The guy's always open. You block down, you roll to the right, you throw back to the left.
Yeah, or even like the play they did with Kate Otten when the one play.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
What?
Roll to the right. Quarterback actually has to move. My bad. My bad. Sorry. Goat. It's the goat. Already in statue form. we made a statue to Tom Brady. He just happens to be out there on the field now. Still there. You could still call the play.
But even the play though,
he rolled out last week. He did.
But even something
rolled
like
out.
yeah.
Remember the one to Kate Otten?
Yeah, but even like in this game, the one play that Kate Otten did get, it was.
I'm sorry, Tommy. I know I'm just a smart ass. I'm blasphemous in saying that about you as the GOAT. I should be flogged. I should be tarred and feathered. I'm just awful for saying that.
I promise when his tenure in Tampa Bay is over, I will remember the good things.
I will too.
I won't. I will not remember this game.
Still the greatest thing that ever happened to the Buccaneers franchise is Tom Brady choosing Tampa Bay and them winning a Super Bowl. Still the greatest thing that has ever happened to this franchise. You know, the 2002 Bucs are a really close second, but that's Tom Brady. He's the greatest player to ever play the game, and he brought us a Super Bowl and a 13-win season. So still the greatest thing that ever. But we have to be honest with what we see when we see.
I'm in the moment right now.
Yeah.
In the moment right now, it ain't good enough.
And then you can have two things can be true here. He brought us a great moment. He was fantastic for 2 years, and now he's not as much because the team around him is not as good, and it just exemplifies his weaknesses.
Hey, listen,
it's a great way to say it. I should have said that from the beginning.
And by the way, if he is in decline, if he really is in decline, am I really supposed to really like raise my voice and get all mad about it?
No,
the guy's 45 years old.
No, absolutely not. No.
It is what it is.
You put a crap team around an aging GOAT, and he's going to look bad, and that's what we're witnessing. Where you put a bad coaching staff and a lot of bad players around this guy who's immobile.
And go look at all the other quarterbacks that we've talked about here, how it ended for them.
Yeah,
all bad. Drew Brees was not good his final year, but you know what? The Saints had a chance to win because they had a damn good team around them. Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl throwing 9 touchdowns and 17 picks.
That's right.
And got benched for Brock Osweiler at one point.
That's right.
Remember that?
Yep.
Still a team that won a Super Bowl because they had everything else around them.
That's right.
John Elway won 2 Super Bowls playing subpar football.
But it accentuates his weaknesses when it's this bad. He doesn't have an offensive coordinator that's dialing up plays with guys wide open. He doesn't have an offensive line that can run block and create some balance for him.
Yeah, they did a good job yesterday.
They did. Yeah, they were good. I thought the offensive line was okay yesterday. Tom was the real weak link yesterday. Yesterday, if you had to pick one player, it would be him. I think if you had to pick one player, that was the biggest fault.
It's fair
because those turnovers were all on him, except for the one he got hit at the end, which you could put a little bit on him but he was just trying to make a play at that point. I get it. But the other three, egregiously on him, no question. All right, we got more from Bowles. Is there more exciting?
Just a few more from Bowles here.
This one's about the outside linebackers. I didn't like minutia.
Period for the game. I know that had to be a limiting action in terms of the pressure you could get. Was that a factor in not being able to contain the Bengals offense as well in the second half?
No, again, field position had a lot to do with it, and penalties kept one drive alive, and we shooting ourselves in the foot. Pat O'Connor had taken reps at outside backer if needed be. We could have put Logan and Pat out there because it was a nickel ball game, so they really would have been playing defensive end anyway.
For a team as talented as this, and they are talented given the way they started the game, with the way things unraveled in the second, is your team lacking mental toughness?
We have a lot of toughness. We got to deal with adversity better. We got to stop the miscues and Bucs versus Bucs. So we understand that. We talk about it. We preach it. We practice it. And we take onus of it, and we'll fight to stop it.
Yeah, they definitely did not handle adversity better. But you know what? They didn't handle success well either.
No.
You were up 17-0. You didn't handle that well either.
No.
So you're just bad all the way around. That's just as simple as it is. It's a bad football team.
Yeah.
And the NFL needs to – and I'm at the point – listen, we had this discussion last week a little bit. Would you rather the Bucs host a playoff game or not make the playoffs? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm at the point, it's hard to watch this team every week.
Oh,
I don't even want to see it. I mean, I'm not. You can call me a fake fan all you want. Don't tell me you're having fun watching this right now.
Do you really?
This sucks. I don't want to watch this team in the playoffs.
Not that, the Cowboys showed yesterday how miserable they can be at times.
Yeah,
but
they're looking ahead to the Eagles.
You really want the Dallas Cowboys to come in here on January 8th or whatever it's going to be in front of the nation and watch Tom Brady and get his ass kicked by that and watch the Dallas Cowboys go up and down the field on this defense? Do you really want to see that? Is that the way you?
It's what I'm saying. Oh,
I mean-
well, we made the playoffs. We can put a little. We can put it on our Wikipedia page that we made the playoffs in 2022. Is that all it's for?
You're going to be known as the worst playoff team in history. Is what you're going to be known as.
One
You're
of.
going to be known as the worst. No, because the other sub 500 one, the Panthers.
Did the Panthers win a playoff game?
They won the
Seahawks
playoff
won a
game.
playoff game.
Yeah, the Seahawks and the Panthers. This team has no chance to win a playoff game. None whatsoever.
At least I can't see it. I mean, I know when playoffs start, everybody you're 0-0, right? And anything can happen.
Yeah,
I guess,
but you're still the same crappy team that you were.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just don't know. I don't see how the stakes get raised, how this team gets better.
I don't either.
I don't see that one.
No,
because I don't think it's guaranteed that I still don't even think it's guaranteed they win the division.
Oh, I don't.
I know the Panthers.
How can you pick them to win a game?
I know the Panthers. Missed a big opportunity this week by not playing any good football at all against the Steelers. I get that. But they've still beat this team before.
Yeah,
and
21-3.
And I'm looking at who the Bucs
Wasn't
are going to have
close.
to. The Bucs are going to have to play Trace McSorley this week,
Yeah.
and you might go, "Oh, great game to get back."
Oh,
listen,
you don't know what Trace McSorley can do against a Buccaneer.
exactly, and Desmond Ritter.
Do not
I don't know.
underestimate Desmond Ritter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't look past these guys. They're going to play Trace McSorley, Sam Darnold, and Desmond Ritter in the final 3 games. And I can't confidently come here and tell you they're going to win this division.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that bizarre? Wow.
The sign of the times.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll hear from Tom Brady. That was another interesting press conference yesterday from him. And boy, I tell you what, I'll kind of set the scene for you when we come back as far as when he came to the podium. Very interesting juxtaposition with Todd Bowles. So we are brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center in our second hour, BAMMC.com. You know you're going to eat like a pig this holiday season, right? So you're going to have to lose some weight come January 1st. No better place to do it than Bay Area Modern Medical Center, folks. They will give you a personalized medical plan, not some fad diet that's not going to work, not some shoot you up with this amphetamine or that amphetamine and you lose a little bit of weight, then it comes right back on. No, this is a medically directed, personalized program just for you so you can get it off and keep it off. That's the way they do it at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. BAMMC.com. Dr. Lugo and his crew will take great care of you. BAMMC.com. Go there, make an appointment before the holidays because you know you're going to need it after. Stay with us.
Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah, so call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group. I remind you this holiday season, do not drink and drive. A lot of the DUI checkpoints out there. I saw they have one in Pinellas that caught a lot of people. So I know it's a holiday season. A lot of you guys out there don't drink a lot during the year. I don't know who you are, but it's the holiday season. Everybody imbibes a little bit. This party, that party. Don't get behind the wheel. They're out there looking for you. Shouldn't do it anyway. But the Jeeves Law Group reminding you, if you do and you get in an accident, make sure you call them right away. JeevesLawGroup.com. Just do that. And, of course, be safe out there. They remind you there's a lot of people out walking around doing Christmas caroling or going out watching the lights. So just be careful in your car out there and have a good holiday season. From the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. All right. Tom Brady spoke with the media yesterday after this game. It was interesting. So Bowles was late to the press conference. So it was like Brady was kind of waiting to come in. And I think he was listening to a lot of what Bowles was saying. And then when Tom came in, it was, and just kind of reading the room and reading his nonverbal, it was just like he was pissed off at himself, I think, more than anything. And I think he was it was a very defeated attitude, in the whole sense of it. There was no, see if you detect any fight left in this guy. It seemed like, does this sound like a guy that's pissed off and we want to come back for these final 3 games and win them and get on a high going into the playoffs? That's what you would hope to see, but there's no semblance of that at all, at least in my mind. See what you think.
We'll start. Tom, you guys look like you're in control of that game, and then turnovers, starting with the kind of a botched fake punt there, gotcha. Just what was happening that was creating all those?
Just, unforced errors. So just 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions. You can't win football games like that. So.
Tom, Todd's talked about Bucs on Bucs. You guys are beating yourselves the last couple of weeks. You hear your coach say that. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, we just, we had a good first half. We're in a good position, and we just literally gave them the ball. So if you give them the ball, obviously we can't score. They're a good offense. So they scored, and, they took advantage.
In the first half, you guys were moving the ball really well, possibly even the best you have all season, especially in the passing game. What felt different when you guys opened the game in the first half compared to other games?
Yeah, we played good. I think we had the ability to play good. I don't think we lack confidence in playing good. It's just consistency, and 2 good quarters doesn't win you any football games, and 5 turnovers doesn't win you any football games.
The leader on this team, what can you do to try to help this team moving into next week and wiping it away?
Yeah, just work hard. Just work hard. So we got a huge game coming up. So I know I keep saying it, but it's a reality, and got to go make it better.
Tom, the last couple of seasons, you guys weren't beating yourselves for the most part. Why is it different this year, you think?
All these games are individual games, and today was 5 turnovers. You can't win football games with 5 turnovers.
It's so good about limiting turnover.
The reason I ask that question is because I do think it's culture related, and I don't expect him to throw Todd Bowles under the bus. But, I wasn't asking about this specific game, and, he kind of made it into that. It was more of a general question of, why is this team not accountable like it was in the past? Why are you making so many mistakes? And the reason I ask that is because we you as a Bucs fan and me as covering this team for 25 years, I've seen this undisciplined, a bad culture, no accountability. And that's the first thing that Bruce Arians talked about when he came in here. And he talked about the accountability board where they have got it. I would hate to see that accountability board right now. I wonder if they still have it, because that was an Arians thing where, every time somebody has a bust, it's written up on the board, and who busted, what they did. There's an accountability board. Boy, that thing's got to be about, 25 pages long now, or whatever it is, but they never really refer to it or talk about it like they used to. And to me, that's the problem with this team. The culture has completely changed. There's no accountability. Guys, and that's why guys keep making the same mistakes time in and time out. And that's why you hear guys talking about people are blaming other people and not taking accountability for what they're doing. And obviously he did not want to go there with my question. And I was hoping he would in some way, shape, or form, because he does it on his podcast, right? He says it's an embarrassing game day effort. Let's see what he says tonight on his podcast. He's much more honest and candid on that, the well-sponsored podcast, than he is with us. So I was trying to give him an opportunity, and I'm not paying him. So then when Hertz pays me, I'll be honest and candid. But you, JP Peterson, screw you. I'm not telling you anything, you people. Continue.
First 3 months of the season, is there something different? Is it an urgency that changes that you have for today? What was different out there?
The two fumbles were, my fault. It was uncharacteristic. One of the interceptions was just a terrible throw, and the other one, I think, I got hit, and guy was laying on the ground. The ball landed in his arm. So
They seemed like they were pressuring you a lot more in the second half versus the first half. It wasn't necessarily with blitzes or anything like that. Was there anything they were doing differently? I don't know if it was more stunting in the second that allowed them to get to you.
Not much. I think we just, I don't think so. Yeah, it wasn't a lot of blitzes per se, but it's just our execution. And again, turnovers kill you. It killed us today. It's just, not the way we need to do in order to win. That's certainly not the way I need to play in order to win.
Well, he took it there. He put it all on himself, which I think was good for him to do. Why the coaches can't do that, I don't get it, but is what it is. Is that it from Brady? Yeah.
Well, he was asked a question. I cut it off about Joe Burrow, whatever. And
oh yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
He only had a 4-word response.
Play that.
Let me go back to it here.
This is interesting because this week Joe was asked about Tom, and and instead of genuflecting to Brady like everybody does, Burrow was ice cold and basically said, he's Tom, I'm Joe. We got to go win a football game. And that is not something that is done in this game. And I think Brady saw that, and you tell me if this is a little salty towards that.
Not the way we need to do in order to win. That's certainly not the way I need to play in order to win.
Tom, what can you say about Joe Burrow, seeing him on the sidelines and the way he was able to rally back in that second half for his team?
Yeah, he's a really good quarterback.
Play it.
That was it?
No, it's the walk-off.
The walk-off?
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.
So you got to get the whole context there, man. He's like, yeah, he's a good quarterback. Thanks, guys. Was that not? He certainly wasn't going to give Joe Burrow his due.
I thought he was bothered by the question, to be honest.
Why? Everybody asked about Brady. Why can't he throw some flowers to Joe Burrow?
He didn't really. When they embraced at the midfield, I think it was like a second. It was like a record time for like one of his little embraces to a quarterback. A second.
Do you think it's because Joe didn't do his due genuflecting?
No, I don't. Who knows? I just don't think he wanted to be asked about the quarterback that just outplayed him. I don't think he did. And I think a lot of people keep comparing Burrow as a young Brady. And there's like all these numbers when you compare the first 3 years of your career. Mm-hmm. And let's just face it. Tom Brady was a game manager for the first 3 Super Bowls that he won for the most part.
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow has come in, and at least since last year when he got healthy again, he's been great from day one, essentially, when he got healthy.
Yeah.
So, Brady's aware of all that stuff. Everybody talking about saying that Burrow's better than him at this point. And that rubs him the wrong way.
It does.
I don't think it's about what Burrow said. I think it's more about the narrative out there.
I don't know.
And I think it probably meant a lot for Brady. He wanted to be that guy to go out there, the old guy, and be like, no, I'm still the guy.
Of course.
And he didn't do it.
Of course. That's part of it. And he's starting to realize his mortality.
Yeah, and you want another juxtaposition there is Tom Brady and the Bucs are one of the worst red zone teams in the entire league.
Yeah.
Guess who the number one quarterback is in the red zone this year?
Let me guess. Joe Burrow.
Yeah. That used to be Brady for years.
You see the crossers they run, how they get guys open.
Guys are
in the
wide
end zone.
open for whatever reason.
Well, everybody's in a plus one-on-one matchup, you know. And Carlton Davis made a couple of big plays. I thought Carlton played well.
I thought he played his best.
I think
game
they
of the
got
year.
worn out at the end of the game, and then those crossing routes guys were, ended up being a couple yards behind Higgins and
Mitch
and Boyd
Wilcox,
and Mitch Wilcox,
USF grad. If you're looking
got
for
his first NFL touchdown.
Sucks, but it's a good moment for a local kid.
Good moment for him, local kid, Eastlake, I believe.
Yeah, and I think he had like 50 family and friends.
Yeah,
in
good
attendance.
for him. Good for him. It's just that I think Brady is really starting to feel his mortality a little bit. That's why everybody's talking about him coming back. Do you think he really wants to come back and play like this? He knows he doesn't have it.
What did he say? What did he say when I feel like I can no longer compete and win anything, that I'm done? That's always been what he said.
Yeah, and I understand that there's not a lot of great. I shouldn't say that. I mean, you look at his last year, and they didn't have a Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. They didn't have those two guys. I don't want to say Leonard Fournette and Rashad White. They're not outstanding running backs by any, but he's got some pieces here. But it's not great. I get that. It's not great. Does he think, if I go to San Francisco, I can run that offense? He can't run that offense. That offense calls for the quarterback to move a lot. Move a lot. Yes. Bootlegs, RPOs.
Jimmy's not exactly doing those things, though.
Oh, come on. What are you talking about? Jimmy runs all over the place.
They're doing new things now with Brock Purdy there that they weren't doing with Jimmy.
You
Because
saw
Brock can
Purdy.
move.
You saw what Purdy did to Devin White.
Because he can move, but I'm
And
saying
you saw
Jimmy
they
wasn't
were
doing
roll,
those things.
but they were. Jimmy's always been a runner.
doesn't.
Oh, come on.
Jimmy's not a runner. He can if he has. If he
can move
absolutely
around
has
and
to.
escape pocket and escape the pocket and make plays. He's an athlete. Brady is not.
Well, whatever.
I'm just
worry
saying.
about Brady in the end, but no. I mean, just for now though, like that's always been his quote. And I'm looking at the team, and he's got 8 losses. This is the first time in his entire career that he's had 8 losses in a regular season, which is astounding when you think about that.
Yes, it is.
But it is true. I mean, this is very likely, because I don't think the Bucs are winning out. It's very likely they're going to finish. They're going to finish under 500. I mean, they're lucky. They're lucky they still have a shot to even get into the damn thing.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't see why he'd want to come back after this. I don't see how can it get any better? Is he going to get better magically at age 46?
No, he's not. That's what I'm saying. Does he really want to come back? And by the way, do you Buck fans really want to see this again? Do you really want to?
It's a tough question to answer.
I mean,
because I said it all last week. I said if Tom Brady says I want to come back, who am I going to tell the guy no, you can't come back?
Right.
Because it's Tom freaking Brady.
And I think the Glazers will feel some pressure, because it's my understanding that most of those luxury box deals that were done were for 5 years.
Yep.
So, they've got to bring Brady.
Money they're making right now with Brady.
Oh, they're crushing.
You think they're turning that down?
They're crushing it. They put in 4,000 extra seats, for God's sakes.
Yes, this was
at
supposed to be
$150 a game times 10.
This was. This was the last.
That's all Brady.
This was the last dance. This is what it was supposed to be.
Yeah. So I mean, at least people can come back and watch Brady, in his farewell song. And honestly, can it be worse than this? It can't be worse, could it?
The only hope you really have is if Brady wants to come back, but you'd have to get a whole new coaching staff in here.
Yes.
But here's the
Offensive
question, and it's just like, but does Brady really want to have to do a whole different song and dance at age 46?
Well, he's
That's
not.
the question.
They're not going to change. They're not going to get a new offense in here, but they need a new offensive coordinator, somebody he's worked with in the past.
They need a new voice or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely. I mean, if Brady were to come back, I would say, if I'm the Glazers, I would say, okay, Todd, we want to keep you on as DC. We need some juice. We need some juice at the head coaching position to come in here, an offensive-minded guy that would work with Brady.
Jim Harbaugh's a Michigan coach.
Oh, there you go. But you think he could work with Brady? Look what he did with Kaepernick. This is off his NFL offense.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
Yeah, it's way different. It's way different. So, but it's one of those things. Harbaugh is a good coach, and he's a fiery guy. He would bring a lot to the table, and he'd figure out a way. Like they would figure out a way, bring in a new offensive coordinator with some juice and figure out a way to get Brady go. Now I can buy into that. New head coach, new offensive staff, bring Brady back. You know, Godwin will be better. You know, for God's sakes, whatever, you know, I don't know what the Russell Gage contract is, but they got to find third receiver. You get Ryan Griffin back. Ryan Jensen back. Sorry, get Ryan Jensen.
We'll probably
back.
have Ryan Griffin.
Right. That guy never leaves. He's got the greatest gig in the world. You know, moves Hainsey to guard. I think you get rid of Donovan Smith. That you save some money there. You move Tristan to the left side. Draft the right tackle. You need some help on his defense. Well, Shaq Barrett comes back. So you got, you know, your defense hopefully will be better.
Oh, who's departing out the other door though?
What do you mean?
Because of the cap.
Yeah, they got $47 million. Well, a lot of these people, that $47 million, that's dead cap money. I don't know what they're over the cap.
They're running out of guys to restructure. I don't even know what else they have left to even move.
Yeah, I'd have to look at that. I don't really know. But I mean, when I'm painting a general scenario.
There are worse. Let's just say there are worse situations out there than what the Bucs are going to look like next year.
As opposed to
regardless if Brady's here or not.
So as opposed to a total rebuild, would I prefer that? Yeah, I think so. I think I would prefer that to a total, because a total rebuild, you're gonna lose 12 games, 14 games, whatever it is. Nobody. You have to do it at some point. I get it, but if Brady wants to hang on for one more year and you do that, what I just described. Okay, I'll buy into that.
And maybe the philosophy of just continuing to throw aging veterans into this team and saying, "Oh, we're good enough." Like I understand veterans are useful, but which ones this year are really helping you? A lot of them look like they're just past it, and now you just have this bloated roster in age.
Yeah,
is lacking speed.
Yeah, if I could get out of the Fournette deal, and I'd have to look at that, but I think that was a 3-year. At least 2 years.
3-year deal, yeah.
At least 2 years that you'd have.
But I think they can get out of it after one.
But more than anything, you just play Rashad White and sneak Vaughn and try to go find somebody in the draft that can give you a little bit of juice. And you need a juice receiver. You know, I want to draft the right tackle, but you know, if I could find it,
I don't know if I want to move. I don't know if I would want to move Wirfs to left though. I know, like left tackle, like everybody, it's the most important thing. But I mean, Tristan Wirfs has mastered that position, and it is different to an extent.
And this day and age, it's a little bit more, but it still is the blind side of a standstill quarterback. You know, so that's the only thing. You go out, you get some speed. You maybe use that top draft pick on a receiver, a big time receiver that you could bring out there that can beat one-on-ones. You know, draft a tackle, draft a running back. I mean, there's a scenario here that is palatable to me with Brady coming back, but it has to be all that. I mean, you know, keeping Todd Bowles and that is off the table.
It's off. That
is completely off the table in my mind. If I'm the Glazers, completely off the table. And I don't know if Todd would stick around and you know, if he doesn't want to, I understand it. I get it. Fine. But he might want to. I mean, you know, I don't think there's any shame in just admitting, you know, that's just not my thing. You know, I'm a DC.
I think the defensive players would love it personally.
I do too. Anyway, the numbers suggest that he knows how to run a freaking
might be a little
defense.
Awkward, but you know,
I don't know. I think he's a pro. He's a pro. I think he gets it. I think at this point he's tired of being a head coach. I don't
think he wants to talk to the media.
No, I think he might just welcome it and just like, you know what, I gave it a shot. I wanted to get another shot to see if I could do it, and you know what, I'm not.
And honestly, did he get a fair shake? Because he wasn't even allowed to hire his own staff. He was given a staff and said, you can't hire who you want. This is who you're getting.
Yeah.
BA, by the way, is moving upstairs. So now he's still your boss to an extent.
Right.
And this is what you get.
Not typical.
It's not an ideal.
Not typical. But he still got the GOAT. You got a team that won.
He is still failed.
You got a team that won 13 games a year, but not exactly. But you got a lot of core players from a team that won 13 games in a Super Bowl the previous 2 years.
It's what I'm saying. I don't.
That's better than coming into a team that's 2-14.
Like Bruce said, he didn't want him to do.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like he still fell. Don't get me wrong, but I do feel for him if he's thinking like, man, I didn't get a fair shake.
Yeah.
To an extent.
But again, I don't see there's any shame in this. You're one of the best defensive coordinators the game has seen, at least in the last 20 years. You can hang your hat on that. You weren't a great head coach. So what? There's not a lot of guys that are. So what? You're still a great. And by the way, you're making millions of dollars, millions and millions of dollars. I know we think of this, oh, poor Todd. No. No, poor guys out there that can't pay their rent and their mortgage. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. He's just not going to be known as a great head coach. So what? He's got a ring. He's got a Super Bowl ring. He's got millions of dollars in the bank. He's got a great family. There's no shame. It didn't work. Okay, fine. Move on. There's no shame in it at all for me. But I think if you're the Glazers, I just don't see any scenario where you can look at this team and how it's coached and the culture of this team and bring back Todd Bowles you can't. You can't. There's too much at stake. There's too much money. There's too much everything. No. So to me, it's either that scenario or it's a complete rebuild. Hey folks, if you still haven't done your shopping out there, the Gold and Diamond Source is waiting for you over there. They've got some great deals going on, big time deals right now. Their prices are the best of the year. Their selection is out of this world. So many places don't have any great selections right now. Everything's been picked over, not at the Gold and Diamond Source. They're still bringing in stuff, the biggest inventory in the world. They've got 5 years no interest financing. So you want to take advantage of that. If you're looking for wedding bands, you went to get your wedding band, right? That was good. You're looking for a ring. It's a place to be. You're going to do that thing at Christmas time. It's the Gold and Diamond Source. Great service over there. If you're unsure of how to buy a diamond or anything, and it's just people you trust, right? People you trust that do great works in the community. That's Julie and Steve Weintraub over the Gold and Diamond Source. All right, that'll do it for us here on this Loser Monday. Once again, we're going to have new shows for you the rest of the week, couple of new shows. So we'll get into the Rays, the Lightning, and everything else the rest of the week. So as you're running around doing your Christmas shopping and your caroling and everything else, make sure to download our app, FanStream Sports, all one word, and check out the show each and every day. Go Bolts tomorrow night against Toronto. Can't wait for that. And it'll be an interesting Monday nighter tonight with the Rams and Baker Mayfield against the Packers and Aaron Rodgers, who are back in it. So we'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone.